Hello and welcome to another Cliff Reviews Art House. This time I'm reviewing the 1975 film Jaws, directed by Steven Spielberg. I first saw Jaws in 1975 when it was first released in the UK. What a phenomenon. It had already been playing in the US for 6 months, and by the time it reached us, everyone was talking about it. It felt like one of those classic moments in cinema history. A film that wasn't just a film, but an event. We don't seem to have phenomena like that anymore. I recently watched the new documentary Jaws at 50, which I thoroughly enjoyed. It makes you realise what a mountain they climbed to make this film. The production was plagued by setbacks, especially the malfunctioning mechanical shark. A shoot scheduled for 55 days dragged on to 159, with the budget doubling in the process. Spielberg later admitted that he suffered what could only be described as post-traumatic stress after it was over. And yet, as they soldiered on through the chaos and uncertainty, never sure whether they were making a masterpiece or a disaster, they ended up creating one of the greatest films of all time. I love this. There's a great moral here about making great art. Sometimes it's born out of struggle, improvisation and even failure. So, Jaws had a cinema re-release for the 50-year anniversary. It's had a full 4K restoration for the anniversary, and I wasn't going to miss the opportunity to see it on the big screen. I saw it on one of the big screens in Leicester Square in London with Dolby Vision and Dolby Atmos sound. It looked fantastic. The restoration is fabulous. The film has a very satisfying 70s look, but still feels fresh. And the picture and sound are stunning. The sound in particular was extraordinary. The depth and width of the mix were breathtaking. The music felt layered in a way that I'd never quite heard before, with individual instruments really standing out. I don't know if that's down to the restoration and remastering or simply the amazing cinema sound system, but either way it made John Williams' score even more powerful. And the practical effects still hold up astonishingly well. The shark, for all its production problems, still looks good today, thanks above all to Spielberg's editing. He shows just enough and cuts away just in time, so you'd never know how difficult the mechanical shark actually was to operate. It's another reminder that even when things don't go to plan, great art can emerge from limitation. Sometimes genius is created from what you don't have. So Jaws is a great monster movie, but what really elevates Jaws above mere monster movie is the chemistry between the three leads. Roy Scheider, Richard Dreyfuss and Robert Shaw create such a compelling trio. The night scene on the boat, when they sit around drinking, swapping stories and singing, is magnetic, funny, poignant and utterly real. Quint is a magnificent character, larger than life, terrifying and charismatic, carrying his own trauma beneath the bravado. There's something so thrilling about the action scenes in this film, the way Spielberg stages the shark attacks. Sharks as silent stealth killers, it's so powerful. Outside the water we have silence, then the screams of the victim, then back under the water into silence again. That rhythmic contrast creates dread more effectively than any of the gore. And then there's Quint's final moment. Just before he's swallowed, he spreads his arms in a crucifix pose. Is this an act of sacrifice, offering himself to save the others? Or is it the last desperate gesture of a man who's gone mad, consumed by his obsession and fatalism? Perhaps both. It's one of the many reasons why the film lingers. It isn't just horror, it has layers of humour, character and perhaps even a strange spirituality woven into it. Interestingly, there are some critics that have argued that Jaws ruined cinema in the sense that it launched the modern blockbuster and shifted Hollywood away from the more experimental director-driven films of the early 1970s, think Scorsese and Coppola, towards spectacle, sequels and merchandising. There's truth in that. It did change the industry, but the problem isn't the film itself. Jaws remains a brilliantly crafted piece of cinema, character-driven, suspenseful and far more subtle than many of the blockbusters that followed in its wake. If anything, it shows how great artistry and popular success can coincide, even if the imitators often missed what made it special. That said, we do probably owe the existence of the Marvel, DC, Disney franchise model to this development. Jaws is still a masterclass in suspense and spectacle. 50 years on, it looks fantastic and still holds up as a thrilling action movie. But it's more than that. It's a character study, a story about fear, community and responsibility, and a landmark in film history. It's influenced generations of filmmakers, and yet it still works on the simplest, most primal level. It's a story that's gripping, scary, and highly entertaining. I thoroughly enjoyed seeing it again. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.